5 things you didn't know about living in Boston. Guys, this is Javier with Javier Hurtado Realty, and today I'm coming at you with a video about the 5 things you did not know about living in Boston. All right, starting with the number 1 list, history of Boston. History is everywhere, guys. Boston is one of the first places and a critical role in the growth of America. And there's a bunch of history wherever you go here in Boston. You'll see the old colonial style, architecture versus tall skyscrapers, which are like much newer. And it's quite beautiful to see the old architecture versus the new architecture and how it all blends together. Boston is actually home to a lot of museums too, like the Boston Tea Party Ships and Museum, Paul Revere House Museum, the Old State House, etc., etc. So you'll see a bunch of architecture that is meshing with new architecture, and you'll see just walking throughout history here in Boston. So I think that's pretty cool. Number 2 is we have a thriving economy here in Boston. So there is a bunch of job growth here in the city of Boston, and there's higher salaries as well. So the salaries are a lot higher than the median of other states, and a lot of top companies people come here to work for. The top companies can include GE, Fidelity, Microsoft, so the list goes on. It's pretty cool. So the companies you can work for are extensive here, and there's a lot of job growth. Number 2. Number 3, Boston's going green. Yeah, I said it. We're going green here in the city of Boston. A lot of the public transportations are coming over and doing more green and sustainable energy for the fueling and all that stuff. And there's a lot of transitioning for solar panels. So not even just in Boston, in the state of Massachusetts, there's a huge push for solar panels and just going green in general. So Boston is one of the pioneers here in the States for going green. And that's something you should know about Boston. Number 4, did you know that a lot of the city used to be underwater? Yeah, that's pretty cool, right, guys? So West End, Seaport in the South End is actually used to be, back in the 1800s, just water. Starting from the 1800s, they started building part of the bay, and actually from part of the Charles River, they started filling it in, and most of Boston, or a good portion of Boston, used to be underwater. So now what you guys are living on, which is like the West End or the South End, and even parts of actually all of Seaport, just all used to be water, but you're living on planks. They filled it in, and it's actually very stable, it's very good, but they filled all that stuff in. And the last but not least, number 5 is 5 things you didn't know about Boston. We don't have happy hour, guys. I know, it's upsetting. It's upsetting, and I love happy hour personally. And so when I get out of work and there's no happy hour, it's like, come on. But Boston actually does not have a happy hour. There's people talking, and word around the street is maybe we're gonna come back and do a happy hour, but at this current time, no happy hour. I know, I'm gonna cry, but it is what it is. But a little fun fact is, we do have recreational marijuana. So if that's something that you guys want to partake in, you can easily go buy it or get a medicinal card. It's very easy for you guys to do that, okay? All right, guys, you guys have a wonderful day. And if you have any questions, anything real estate related, you know how to reach me. All my information is below. Or if you want to send me a message and have any questions, please, I'm an open book. Come at me. Come at me with those questions. Just questions. Nothing bad. Just good stuff, okay? All right, guys. Peace.